Now I'm going to discuss greasing the backhoe and the broom. It's critical that we get the machine greased every 20 hours because if you don't do that, it will create unnecessary wear and tear and your machine will not work properly. A few items you'll need to do this. It's always good to have a handful of rags, otherwise you end up wearing most of it. A screwdriver, a small screwdriver to clean out any grease zerks that may have mud caked in them. It's always good to have an extra tube of grease. Of course, your grease gun. So we'll start. We just go over the machine and look for any pivot point. So I see there's a grease zerk here. Just put the grease on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anywhere from 3 to 5 pumps on the grease gun is going to be good enough on a backhoe. Here's another one. I see 4 right here. I'm guessing there's probably going to be the same amount on the other side. When I get around to the other side, I'll know where to look. And you just keep walking back. Here's a couple more pivot points right here. Well, that one's a little bit full of grease, so I'm going to put my screwdriver in there, clean it out, use my rag, take that water grease off. There. Now, there's a pivot point right here that you can't see. I don't know if I can get my hose on it or not. Yep. So there's a pivot point that needs greased. You hear it popping, that's how you know you're getting grease in there. So we got that one. Squirt a little more in there. Yep. And then just keep walking back. See me there. Here's one. Right here. And again, all these points you're finding on this side of the machine, it's likely that you're going to find on the other side. See one more up top here, right here. Push it on there. A lot of times one that gets missed is right here. Another one that gets missed, commonly gets missed, is right here for the wheel. Keep working our way back. I see 2 spots here that are probably going to need grease. Find the grease zerk. You see the grease coming out right there. That's how you know you're getting grease in it. Then we'll walk on back to the back of the machine. You've got one right here for this for the locking mechanism on the boom. And then you've got two on this cylinder. You got one up top here, one down here on the bottom. One here. There's also one up under here for the top pivoting ring. I don't know if you can get that right there. Mm-hmm. And there's also one right here. You'll see right here that this one's packed full of grease as well. I use my screwdriver, pull some of that grease out so I can stick my grease tip in there. See one right there. One right here. We'll move on down the boom. There's one in here. It's kind of hard to see. One on the top here. One here. One right here in the side. And there's one on this pin. You'll see there's a pin in here that you've got to take out to access it. There's a nice hole there. Right in through the hole. And pop it off. Make sure you put the pin back in. And we'll move on down the boom here. Got one here. 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 Come around the back. Another one that's commonly missed. This one will cause quite a racket if you leave it ungreased. That's usually the one that Tom hears first. So we want to make sure we get that one. Lots of grease. Now you'll start to remember some of these from the other side. Now we just head up towards the front of the machine. We've already got this one. There was one on the other side. Yep, sure enough, there's one here. Head on up. There's one here. The hose can get in the way sometimes. Here. We've already got this one, and this one. There's two in here. There's also one on this pivot point, but you need to put the outriggers down to get to that one. So you put the outrigger down, and there'll be a grease zerk on the very top of this cylinder here. And we head on towards the front. This should all be familiar from the other side. And I'm running out of grease, so we'll talk about how to change the grease gun next. Okay, so I've run out of grease. I'm going to change the grease tube. To do that, you unscrew the cylinder from the pump of the grease gun. Pull this rod out about halfway, let it go. That's the old grease tube. There's a steel ring in there you can pull it out with. Discard that. Take your new grease tube, take the cap off, pull this rod out, and lock it in, just like that. Put your tube in so that the opening here is on the top. Peel that out. Like that. Then you thread your pump back on. About halfway, you need to push your rod back in. If you go all the way, you won't be able to push that rod back up into the grease tube. Then you thread it back up. About hand tight's good enough. Now we're ready to continue greasing the machine. We've hit these two. We're going to hit this one. And there's one up here on the top. One here. here. Down here at the bottom. Now we come to the broom. There's 4 here, just like the other side. And 1 up here at the front.